Sometimes countries develop a reputation, something or some things that this country becomes well known for internationally. Maybe incredible landscapes or beautiful beaches, exquisite cuisine, right? But it oftentimes happens that this reputation gives way to stereotypes, and not always the stereotypes are good. So today I'm going to talk to you about 7 Polish or Polish people stereotypes that I think there are bullshit. Boom! Cześć ludzie! What's up people? Hola, VIGO'S here. Welcome to another episode. You know, with this war in Ukraine and the way that Poland has answered and how Polish people have behaved helping Ukrainians, you have more people wanting to visit Poland. They want to see what's there for them to enjoy. And with some attention, of course, there's going to be some things that are not going to be 100% accurate, or they're just going to be plain wrong. If you know someone that might be interested in visiting Poland, please send them this video because I'm going to try my best to debunk, or to, at least from my experience, say why these 7 things are not true. The first stereotype is how Polish people are only good at manual labor. Let me tell you, man, that's some utter bullshit right there. Yeah, of course, Poles are worldly renowned for being good at building things, at fixing things. Granted, now, you have to think of the times before the internet, before computers. You had a very large part of society that was doing some sort of manual labor. You have Poles are good at doing most of the things that people have to do to survive. You know, therefore, the fame grows, and all of a sudden, Polish people are only good at doing that. Not true at all. If you take the statistics of the 10 countries that are the best at technology jobs, especially programming, you have Poland in the 3rd place. Poland is the 3rd country in the world with the best programmers. Look at this amazing, incredible behemoth of IT companies that have headquarters in Poland. Amazon, Google, Microsoft. Netflix is opening its Central and Eastern European headquarters in Poland too. And why do you think that is? Because cheap labor? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Let's admit it. Those companies are gonna pay less there for services, for infrastructure, the salaries of the employees. But there has to be some sort of balance. They would not jeopardize the quality of their programmers and their services just in order to pay less. So yes, Poland does have amazing manual labor workers, and very proudly, but that's not all they have. The second stereotype is that Polish people are not friendly. Now, this one is tricky. It is true that they are short. It is true that they are not the most welcoming people to begin with. And that part over there is very, very key, to begin with. The same thing I can say about French. Hey, French viewers, I'm sorry, but I'm being honest. Every time that I've been to Paris, for example, they have not been the most welcoming people to begin with. But yes, although they are short and they might seem, you know, heavy guarded at the beginning, you just have to know how to talk to them. You just have to know how to go about bringing down these walls. Respect their personal space. This is very important to them. Don't ask too many personal questions if they don't know you. Be polite and know your manners. They really do pay attention to manners. So if you're a foreigner that just arrived in Poland, at the beginning you might feel a little bit lonely because they're not necessarily gonna come up to you and ask you a bunch of questions and where do you come from and how's your country and yada yada yada. Something miraculous happens when you kind of like have seen each other a couple of times. Maybe, you know, at work you've gone to a couple of get-togethers, and boy oh boy, just the world opens up. They become so friendly. They make an effort to either speak your language if they know a little bit of it. In the very least, they're gonna speak English, and they're gonna ask other people in the group to switch to English so that you can understand. So I really encourage you to try a little harder and don't get discouraged, okay? You might be just a week away from befriending some of the greatest people that you have ever met. The third stereotype is actually ridiculous because it has to do with how Polish people view their own country. I found 2 stereotypes that oppose each other very strongly. So either they are ultra-conservative nationalists, or they outright hate Poland. We have to admit that the nationalist thing probably comes from all this hooliganism that takes place in Poland during Independence Day in Warsaw. Is terrible. There's no reason for those things to happen. And yes, we're not gonna try to hide it under the carpet. There are groups of people that are, let's say, too close to the extreme right, and they're doing and saying things that have no place in the year 2022. But that is not most of the country. That is not the general population of Poland. You know what is also not happening? The opposite. Yes, I've lived abroad and I've heard some Polish people that just diss Poland all the time, saying, this country is going to hell, basically putting Poland so low that someone should remove their passports. But that is also not the norm. That is also not what happens to most Polish people. If you ask me, most Polish people are damn proud to be Polish. We have to say that those two completely opposing things do not take place inside most Polish people's minds. Poland does have a lot to be proud of. Poland does have a lot to not be so proud of. It happens everywhere, you know? Do you really want me to talk about Dominican Republic and the things that are not so good there? We have a lot. We want to talk about any country. At the end of the day, I think there should be some balance when you talk about a country and how its own people view themselves. But to go around and have such bold, generalized statements, it doesn't go over well. The fourth stereotype is how Poles are among the heaviest drinkers in Europe. Hell, I've even heard in the world. Now, if you've been to Poland, you know that they love to have fun. They do like to drink, and there is a drinking culture. It seems like alcohol is part of, I don't want to say their everyday life, because I don't think that most Polish people drink every day, but for sure alcohol is a big part of their fun-having activities. Saying that they are among the heaviest drinkers in Europe or the world, that is a stereotype and is false. And let me prove it to you. I'm going to insert a chart right now. These are the 10 heaviest drinking countries in the world, ranked in the year 2021. Who is missing? You're right, Poland. I will tell you where I think this fame stems from. Of course, we already said that they do like to party, they do like to drink. They have always been associated with some of the countries that drink the most in the world. For example, many of them are Slavic countries. Czech Republic, a neighbor of Poland, has the highest beer consumption per capita in the world. Russia, another Slavic country that is worldly renowned for having excessive amount of drinking. In Spain, for example, they drink almost every day, and they do it actually from an early hour in the day than Poles do. But because they drink throughout the day, you know, a little beer here during lunch, and then they have some wine later in the afternoon, it kind of like seems like they're drinking less. Also, the way that they are affected by alcohol is, once again, a little bit more tamed. In Poland, Polish people drink like there's no tomorrow. When they sit down and they're gonna have a drink, it's almost guaranteed that they're gonna end up shit-faced. I do see a big change with the younger generations, and I keep talking about the younger generation in Poland. I'm gonna do a whole episode about the younger generation, because to me it's fascinating how there are certain trends that are changing, but at the same time so many things are remaining the same. But this is coming in a future episode. The fifth stereotype is that Polish people are big scammers. I have heard comments that Polish people are gonna always try to find a way to scam you or to get something out of you without you really knowing. What I don't really like about this is that I've heard this coming from Poles themselves. Now, you can say that no one knows your people better than yourself, but I think that when you repeat that a little bit too often, especially around other foreigners, the word gets spread around and I don't think it's fair. In Poland, there is such a thing as, you know, kominować. We know that. I made a whole episode about that. You can check it up here on the link. This is not exactly the same as being scammers. Come on. When I think of scammers, I think of, you know, call centers somewhere in deep India where people are calling you trying to get your credit card. In my opinion, you should be very careful of confusing scamming with negotiation. Yeah, don't get me wrong. We know that there are people always trying to get some sort of advantage, and if you compare Polish people to, let's say, maybe Germans, should I say, or okay, Scandinavians, they seem to be pretty fair people. They like their fairness, they like things to be, you know, as clear and transparent as possible. Fine, it's a perfect world, but that's not the world that we live in, right? At least myself as a Dominican, I am very, very used to trying to negotiate your way around things. Now, outright calling someone a scammer, or even worse, generalizing that a whole country is full of scammers, yeah, I'm not okay with that. And I'm gonna defend Polish people to the end of this road and that road, and I'm gonna say that they're not that. Now, you need to learn a little bit of kominować, because, hey, kominować is good for... Okay, stereotype number 6. That Polish products are low quality. Once again, I'm gonna have to call this one bullshit. What are you, living in the 70s or the 80s? Listen, Poland has changed drastically. I get it. Back in the 70s, the 80s, Poland used to be heavily influenced by the Soviet bloc. So a lot of the products that used to be imported into Poland, you know, came from communistic production, if you will, right? So the USSR. And they were not always known to produce the best things. A lot of the brands were usually mimicking or copying some sort of American brand or German brand or product line that most of the times worked, because you cannot say they did not work, but they were not exactly quite the same. After the USSR fell and Poland opened up to the world and was, of course, introduced to the free market and the European Union, it's a completely different country. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, as a person that has been immersed in this Polish culture and reality for the last 10 years, I have to tell you that some of the best products that I've consumed on certain lines are Polish. I'll give you a great example. There's this line of cosmetics that my wife loves, and they're Polish. Their name is Jaja, I believe. I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing it, but we love those things. They are extremely good quality, and on top of that, if you look at the ingredients in the back of the labels, you're going to realize that they don't have like this long list of things that you're like, I don't even know how to pronounce 2/3 of those elements that are there. Even on newer markets such as plant-based or vegan products, you have incredible brands that come from Poland, and they really have nothing to envy other products from the UK or from America. For example, there's this brand from Poland that we love. The name is Dobra Kaloria, and they have incredible products. They're Cabanose. Come on, more and more Polish brands are making a dent on the international scene. For example, in the fashion industry, the brand Reserved, that is a Polish brand. And I'm sure there are way more that I'm forgetting. You guys can name them in the comment section below. But yeah, long gone are the days where a Polish brand, Polish businesses were considered low quality. And I really encourage you to do a little bit of research, trying to find out the different Polish brand and businesses that are out there that might fulfill a need that you already have. Also, you're going to support an industry, you're going to support a business and an economy of a country that is trying to better itself, okay? So give it a try and stop thinking that Polish brands are low quality, because that is not true. And the final stereotype that I'm going to debunk today is number 7, that Poland or Polish people are poor. Believe me, it would be very easy for me to prove this wrong by bringing up a bunch of tables and indicators and economic studies, but I don't want to do that. I don't think that's how we should really measure things At least not the people that watch this channel, right? This is not a crypto channel, this is not a get rich or anything like that. This is a channel about multiculturality, about human relationships, about trying to find out why we are the way we are, why we like the things that we like, and what is the connection that we have to those things and those places. First of all, have you read about Polish culture or the vast and dense Polish history? How can you say that a given place is poor when it has so much richness? Now, you're gonna say to me, JT, don't try to be clever. You know what we're talking about when we say poor. Yes, I know what you're talking about, but that's not what I'm talking about. But you know what? To satisfy your curiosity, I'm just gonna, drop a bomb here, and I'm gonna tell you that Poland is the 23rd largest economy in the world. 23rd out of more than 190 countries. But even though you can measure how rich or well off a country is using several indicators, my preferred way to do this is to visit this place, to get your feet in the ground and go to the capital, to the main cities, but then visit some rural areas and talk to the locals. How do they live? I'm not gonna sit here and sell you a dream or outright lie to you and tell you that Poland is as rich as, I don't know, Germany or maybe England. But precisely talking about England, I've seen places in England where you just cannot say with a straight face that England is a rich country. Yet, it is a rich country. So like I said, I could debunk this by bringing up a bunch of tables and Excel sheets and prove to you how the numbers add up. I actually just want to encourage you to go to Poland, visit, go to Warsaw, go to Kraków, go to Wrocław, go to Poznan, go to Gdańsk, go to, just go to Żgów if you want to, and see how the people live. This is a country that overflows in culture, history, a little bit of complaining, but a lot of soul. Book your trip to Poland and discover how rich they are. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of the episode. I hope you liked it. This is subjective. Many of the things that I say here, you can agree, maybe you can disagree. There's no problem with that. If you know something about my channel, is that I love to have an open forum for us to discuss things. And it's very important to me that I make sure that whatever I express here through my opinions is 100% based on my observations, my empirical knowledge of things. So I hope that you can agree at least on some of them. And if not, it's perfectly fine. Let me know in the comment box below. Guys, talk to you on another episode. Bye-bye.